Good day. This is Brother Medina for Tuesday Seventh-day Adventist. And please let us start with a word of prayer. O loving Father, please grant us your Holy Spirit that we may understand and that everyone listening may understand. Please help us to see clearly what is being said for your glory's sake and for our proper decision-making sake. In Jesus' holy name we pray, with thanksgiving unto thee. Amen. Well, today we want to look at the science of vaccination. The science of vaccination. You see, they have told us that vaccine prevents diseases. They have told us that vaccines prevent the diseases that they are giving you the vaccine for. But nothing else is further than that. Nothing else is further from the truth than those statements themselves. We want to show you the science of vaccination. We want to show you what goes on and how our body works with regards to this, to help you understand why you must have an informed choice, why you must have vaccine freedom, why you must have vaccine choice, and why you must have religious exemptions or maybe philosophical exemptions if you so want. Yes, my dear people, this is what we are talking about. We are talking about religious liberty here. This is what our discussion is really all about if we look at it in its structured philosophy. Now, I have in my hands here a book. The name of the book is Vaccine, Primer and Inoculation by Elliot Fried. Vaccine, Primer and Inoculation by Elliot Fried. And this book gives us the results of many researches all over the world done by independent sources and also done by sources paid by the drug corporations, so that it will show you what we know in science and what we do not know, neither the drug corporations know, therefore why they should not be making statements that they are making when it comes to vaccination. You and I know that drugs do have side effects. Sometimes you're watching cable and they are advertising various drugs. And by law, they have to give a wide range of the side effects of the drug. And so you hear them say it. And nobody fights it down because they have to do this. And you can say if you want to take this drug or not. They can't force it upon you. If they were to take away your rights and freedoms, like your freedom of choice, and force that drug upon you, that would be socialized medicine or socialized health care, a form of Stalinism or communism. So they cannot do this to you. You have to choose. But why then are they making a difference with vaccines? Vaccines themselves are a type of medicine. And they're giving you the impression this type of medicine have no bad side effects, only slight little things, which is totally far from the truth. And that's what they're telling you. And passing laws to force you to take this type of medicine they call vaccination. It's so wrong and it is so evidently evil that you should not ever deny a child education because his parents does not want to vaccinate his child on religious grounds or other philosophical grounds. And even more when you understand the science, you see why it is evil to even deny the child education for such a good choice a parents have made. And this is the reason why let the exemptions continue and stop forcing vaccination or this type of medicine or drugs upon people. Yes, my dear people. Now, in this book here, I read from the part that tells us how vaccine affects us. I read for you and I will explain. We are told vaccine theory states that vaccines cause a mild form of the disease that prepares the body to respond to the harsher natural form. Now, this is only a theory, but you see, what we know for sure is that vaccine cause a mutated form of disease. Yes, my dear people. You see, the theory of vaccination is that they will get you sick with the same virus. But this sickness they claim is supposed to be benign or benevolent or mild, and therefore prepares your body for the real horrible sickness. That's what they tell us. That's the theory they give us. That's what they say to us. So the point about it is, vaccination is intended to get a person sick. But the sickness, they say, is a mild form. Look at another thing here. You have the MMR vaccine. Measles, mumps, rubella. Those are 3 different viruses. And the sicknesses are 3 different sicknesses. You put all in one vaccine, you give the person the vaccine, the person gets 3 different sicknesses at the same time. You call it mild. But even worse if you put that into a baby's body, where you have the immune system now developing. You give them 3 types of sicknesses, mild form of the sicknesses, you say, but it is really mutated form of the sicknesses. No wonder why the children get so sick and so much of them dies, which again is not reported in the mainstream media. They wouldn't tell you that. But why? If a person get measles, they wouldn't catch mumps at the same time. They wouldn't catch rubella at the same time. Why are you taking 3 types of sicknesses in one and making the person get 3 types of sicknesses at the same time, which you call in a mild form, but which is really a mutated form? It doesn't make sense. You see, all you have to do is to think and see what you are doing. Think and see what you are doing to your children. And what these so-called quote-unquote experts are telling you to do. By telling you things like, oh, it prevents the disease. It doesn't prevent the disease. It gives you a mutated form of the disease to cause your immune system to protect you from those type of diseases. But then again, that is not even a proven theory, because they cannot present studies that show you that. Because only independent studies done by people not influenced by the drug corporations and not paid by the drug companies, they can show you those results. But results from drug companies have often been proven to be studies that are fraud. And for that reason, Pfizer, GlaxoSmithKline, Merck, and other drug corporations have been fined millions and millions of dollars for fraudulent presentations, for overstating the efficacy of their vaccines and drugs, because they have produced a lot of false studies, hidden a lot of studies also. Yes, my dear people, they do not have technology to make a clean vaccine even today. But they won't tell you that. Let me continue to read from this book here. It tells us, vaccines cause illness. That is the purpose of vaccines, as stated by vaccine developers. The idea is that they will cause a milder form of the illness that trains the body to respond so that when the natural infection is encountered, the body can respond better. This theory has never been proven in any scientific way, yet it is taught in medical school as gospel. Yes, my dear people. So they can't prove that. That is not a scientifically proven fact. But you have to trust them and trust to put that in your body and in your child's body as if it is a known, settled scientific fact when it isn't. But the fact that you know is that the vaccine is supposed to cause a kind of illness in your body. Why? Because they put the virus in what they call an attenuated form. It is live, or sometimes they say it is dead, but you have the coat of the virus, and it goes into your body, and as it goes into your body in a large amount, your body's immune system is supposed to rush and say, oh my God, I'm being infected by this virus, and attack the virus. Create antigens or antibodies to attack the virus. That's what they tell you. But it so happens that they are tricking your immune system, deceiving your immune system. That type of medicine is dangerous and very, very complicated, because you may deceive the immune system for a while, but there are other factors in the immune system that operates at the same time where no deception can take place, but destruction. And that's the reason why this is not a safe science. So you must have exemptions, religious exemptions, philosophical exemptions, exemptions based on conscience. Yes, my dear people. Let me continue. As discussed above, most available evidence suggests the opposite is true. Vaccine cause mutated forms of diseases which are likely to be worse than the natural forms. Of course, yes, my dear people, all you have to do is to think about it. Could you imagine they take monkey liver cells, that is rotten, and grows the measles virus in it, their form of the measles virus, and they produce so much that they can make a solution to put in your body. But the measles virus you get was not grown. The measles virus you get from the wild. That measles virus was not grown in rotten monkey kidney cells. No. It was not grown in monkey kidney cells. It comes from the wild and goes through your nostrils. But they're giving you a form of the measles that was grown in monkey kidney cells, and they're putting it directly into your bloodstream, not in the form of a mist sprayed in front of your nose for you to breathe it in, but directly into your bloodstream. That's what they are doing. And you know, when you grow these viruses in these cells, undigested meat from these cells become literally part and parcel of the vaccine solution. They cannot cleanse it 100%. They cannot cleanse it even 50%. And they put that into your body. And do you know what happens? Science have proven that your body reacts to undigested meat if the cells are put directly into the bloodstream by creating allergies for all kind of things. No wonder why children today have allergies for all kind of things. But it even has a worse and deceptive and destructive effect upon your body, creating autoimmune diseases like diabetes, like lupus, and a whole host of others. Yes, my dear people, but that they wouldn't tell you. The mainstream media wouldn't tell you, so you wouldn't know. Let me continue reading what I'm reading. Here we go again. It says this. As discussed above, most available evidence suggests the opposite is true. Vaccines cause mutated forms of diseases which are likely to be worse than the natural forms, and people are constantly coming down with the diseases for which they have been vaccinated, either resembling the natural form in presentation or in completely new and unexpected ways. Yes, my dear people, that is what happens. So this is the reason why you're trying to prevent measles, but you're giving the person sickness from an attenuated form of the measles to stimulate their immune response. And do you know when the vaccine is going into your body? The virus is being put directly into your bloodstream. No virus goes directly into your bloodstream like that, so except you get a cut and you put the actual virus on it. But they are doing it via injection, which makes it even worse. But when you get measles, you don't get measles with different toxic metals like mercury, like aluminum, like formaldehyde, and a whole host of other properties and detergents. The virus doesn't come into your body with all of that, but yet all of that goes into your bloodstream. How could that ever be right? You just have to think about it and see it is wrong. Had they taught you that, you would say you don't want that anywhere near you. But they wouldn't tell you. They will give you propaganda statements like vaccine prevents diseases, when there are no studies showing that that is true. In fact, the opposite has been shown. Yes, my dear people. But they wouldn't like what we are telling you, because what we are telling you is hitting the nail on the head or grabbing the subject by its throat and showing you the facts. When you know these things, you can't allow these things to happen to you and your babies and your children that you love. Listen to this. I quote, "The original theory that has been replaced in the public dialogue with the completely unsubstantiated and unscientific marketing phrase is vaccine preventable disease. Vaccine preventable disease. There is no disease that is vaccine preventable. There is no such thing as a vaccine preventable disease. Vaccines are designed specifically to cause the disease in question. When you hear somebody use the phrase, you can be certain they either do not know what they are talking about or that they are intentionally lying. This is why, as discussed before, many of the people who get the vaccine get sick. It is also why many of the people who get the vaccine then get the illness again. These two phenomena are by design. They are the very purpose of vaccines. And that is how the vaccine is supposed to work on you. Yes, my dear people, but this they would not tell you generally. You have to find this out by research. And this is the reason why you have to have vaccine freedom. Listen to this again. I'm reading under the immune system. Among other things, we have learned that antibodies do not confer immune system memory, let alone immunity. Yet when vaccine developers claim their product is effective, they are referring solely to the production of antibodies in your body. That's what they say. They are not studying whether or not vaccinated people still get the disease or are susceptible to it in the future, or whether the form of disease they get is more serious or mild than the natural disease. So then they're telling you, oh, well, it gives you immunity. but they're not telling you if it makes you get the same sickness, which it is what is designed to do, or a terrible mutated form of worse sickness can come. Yes, my dear people. When those clinical studies are performed by independent scientists, it is found that vaccinated people get the diseases regularly. In many cases, more often than those not vaccinated. This is what they have found. In a number of studies, it has been found that vaccinated people get a worse form of the disease than those not vaccinated. And there was a guy who got a worse form of yellow fever than the normal yellow fever after he got vaccinated with the yellow fever vaccine. Right in Trinidad here, I'm telling you about. And he said he never got yellow fever before, ever, until he got vaccinated. And he got a worse form. And this is what we're reading here. You see, and this is consistent with the observations of medical men throughout the 19th century, when the only vaccine was for smallpox at that time. Yes, my dear people. This is why so many people report getting the flu after getting the flu shot. Although their doctor may call it a coincidence or claim that they were lucky that they got the flu shot because it made the disease more mild, they are quoting the theory based on a hypothesis or a guess from over a century ago. That's what they are doing. A theory that has been wrongly refuted time again and makes no sense whatsoever based on our current understanding of the immune system. The point about it is the person was not supposed to get the flu. They were not supposed to get the disease. But look, they're getting it. So don't come and say, thank God you get a mild form. If it was to prevent the disease, how come they are getting it? And by the way, they do not tell you this, but scientific documents show that when they get the measles vaccine, for 26 days after the shot, you are shedding the measles vaccine, the measles itself, the virus, to the public. That's what it shows. Science shows that. But they don't tell you that. So what are they really talking about? The book tells us, to summarize, vaccination is based on a late 19th century hypothesis that have long been proven false. The industry itself does not study the clinical effectiveness of vaccines, and what independent academic study is done disproves the hypothesis and demonstrates vaccines to have most dangerous or more dangerous than the natural diseases. When vaccines are said to be effective, this does not mean they prevent disease or improve the immune system. You can't improve the human immune system. The immune system now, according to modern science, is so much more complicated. You think putting a vaccine shots or vaccine shots in it with all kind of metals and heavy metals in that vaccine could improve the immune system? God made the immune system. Which man by a few shots or multiple shots could improve the immune system? It does not improve the immune system. Vaccine manufacturers are only evaluating a limited set of laboratory test results, not the actual health of living people. So they don't evaluate your health. They don't go and check the people, their health. They just have some theories and paid research scientists who must come up with a theory to suit the medicine they are given. And all these are facts, my dear people, facts that's supposed to shock you. But there are even worse shocking facts you need to know. And that is the ingredients that are in the vaccines. Ingredients. Let me read for you Chapter 10C of Vaccine Primer and Inoculation by Elliot Fried. I quote, "In order to understand the vaccine versions of these diseases," so the vaccine gives you a version of those diseases, "more fully, we have to understand the ingredients in the vaccines. how they affect the body, and how they work together to enhance the effects of the vaccines. The first ingredient we must consider is the pathogens themselves. As described earlier, vaccine manufacturers create mutated pathogens that are often more potent and damaging, even deadly. Let me continue here. Instead, we will accept that vaccines contain manufactured pathogens. This means that they are causing the disease, but in an unusual or mutated way. So that's why when you get the vaccine, the intent is that you would get the disease to trick your immune system to produce antibodies to deal with it. So the aim is to really get you sick, but in a different way. That's the point. I continue. It says this. Another concern regarding vaccine pathogens is that they give many diseases at once. Anybody getting whooping cough, diphtheria, and tetanus all at once would be hard-pressed to recover fully. In other words, here they put 3 of those vaccines together: diphtheria, tetanus, and the whooping cough. Who says that when you get the whooping cough, you would get tetanus or diphtheria at the same time? No. So they are putting 3 different sicknesses in you. Attenuated sicknesses, mutated sicknesses in you at the same time. And then if they give you another 3, MMR, measles, mumps, and rubella, those are 6 different sicknesses your body have to take on at the same time. And sometimes they give you booster shots or shots attached to those things. So they're making you get sick over and over with about 6 different sicknesses at the same time. Anybody can tell you, except it is for very rare and unusual circumstances, nobody gets sick that way. And then they're putting that in your baby's body. You imagine getting a baby or a child with those 6 types of sicknesses at the same time through the vaccine? No matter how much you claim the sickness is a benign form. Let me continue here. It says this here. Adding measles, mumps, rubella, polio, a dozen influenza viruses, hepatitis B, and some meningococcal viruses. And it is quite a soup of disease induced, quite a soup of diseases that doctors are injecting into infants or toddlers all at once. With vaccines, we often give multiple shots at once. I've heard stories of as many as 20 being given to an infant in one visit. Yes, my dear people, sometimes more than that. 5 or 10 shots are not uncommon. If each shot contains an average of 3 pathogens, this means doctors are regularly giving infant children 15 to 30 diseases all at once, but they say in the benign form. But they're giving it to you all at once for your body now to react to deal with those 30 different diseases all at the same time. It's insane. That don't happen in nature. And yet that's what they're doing. When you are looking at a 2-month-old and see 2-month-old previously healthy babies within hours, sometimes even minutes of receiving vaccines, begin swelling up from liver and kidney failure, covered in rashes and bleeding sores, discharging the most foul-smelling feces, and arcing their backs in screaming pain with fevers high enough to kill, as they are on the way to an imminent death, it is not hard to suppose that they have just gotten a number of diseases all at once. End of quote. Yes, my dear people, this clearly shows you that this is not real. In nature, it doesn't really happen so. And this is destructive for you and for your kids. And this is the reason why you need to have vaccine choice. You need to have freedom of choice. You need to have freedom of conscience. You need to have your religious liberty. And there must be religious and philosophical exemptions for you and your children, instead of socialized medicine or socialized healthcare by forcing you to give up your rights and freedoms for vaccination, which the whole theory is false and wrong and harmful. So, my dear people, if anyone wants this program, call us at 625-0446. 625-0446 will give you this program. So, may God bless you. May God make you make the right decisions and preserve you. In Jesus' holy name, amen.